So the way I became like a pretty efficient decoder is that I began to decode stuff based upon the tablet that it came from. So say for instance, when you're dealing with the biblical tablet, this was all based upon a spell that was cast based upon time and dealing with the number 6. So anything that you're dealing with is based upon or locked into biblical history is tied in with the number 6, dealing with time, which there's 12 hours on the clock. If you break that in half, that's 6, because the clock is based upon 6. And it's based upon, of course, really 24 hours, an AM and a PM, but it's really broken down into 4 parts each day which is based upon the number 6. 6 times 4 is 24. So when you get into understanding biblical history, that's dealing with the number 6. But then there's a history that I talk a lot about on my channel that deals with Sumerian history. And people always ask me, well, what is the difference between Sumerian and Egyptian history and biblical history? Well, what I'm discovering is that they are talking about a lot of stuff that we have not discovered yet. We have not interfaced with a lot of the written texts that the Egyptians left their clear documents in. And what this is meaning is that eventually, based upon their accurate records, we're going to interface with their history. So in understanding my videos and understanding the different dimensions, one of the main things that you would have to first understand is that many texts are written on different planes and dimensions. So what happened is that when we got locked in this dimension, this was based upon a lock in time. Any dimension that you get so-called locked in with, of course, time is, so some dimensions don't have time, of course, but then there's still space and reference and communication on each dimension, and you get locked away based upon your access or blocking of being able to communicate on certain etheric realms or on certain celestial realms. So in the Bible, you hear a lot about a conflict, mostly with all of the figures. There's always an adversary, and then there's always a prophet or a chosen one that's a seer that always sees into this future. How in the heck, you can say, well, it's God, but I mean, come on, let's give a clear explanation. How, what future? How are they able to see this future if it has not played out yet? And these prophets always came out to be right. Even to this day, when you research a lot of their work, it always comes out to be right. And that's because they're looking into a tablet or a text that's connected to a different time reference that if viewed, you will find out that you're viewing history from that time reference, from that time space. So when people ask me, like, how do I really understand the dimensions and how you get into decoding them, first is taking yourself outside of time reference and communication and separating the two and learning how you correspond on different multi-dimensional levels. You correspond and communicate on many levels and exist on many dimensions. And the way to understand all of that is to first understand your time reference to it, by understanding your connection to what dimension you may be connected to, which of course most of us are locked in 4D based upon your name and social security number and certain other aspects of your reality that tie you into this dimension. They define you in these numerical blueprints. So once you are able to decode your name and get a good name reading or things of that nature, you'll begin to understand which dimension you may be tied in with. So you gotta stay vigilant. Just a little knowledge coming from getting a lot of questions about what is a dimension, and when I'm talking about 3 and 4 and 5D, what am I really talking about? Like with 4D, I want to throw this out there too. You're dealing with viewing time through someone else's mind space. There's a group of beings that can view what you view through your mind space. Everything that you've ever saw has been recorded somewhere. Some people call it the Akashic records. Through your mind space, and there are beings that can view that. And that's what's called 4D, and they're responsible for what they see. So they begin to build up a communication based upon your mind space. That's where they got my space from. It's another story. And dealing with the 5th dimension, this takes you into the level of understanding virtual reality. And the fact that there's a reality based upon aura that can be viewed in color and experiences that we're experiencing on another reality through your body right now. You're much bigger probably than what you think. And there are beings that are experiencing realities through the energy that you emit. And that's learning how to get into your yin-based and yang-based energy and figuring out how to work with both of those energy components and understanding that in the different levels of understanding, okay, third, fourth, and fifth. So just not just defining it based upon time is not going to do it enough. You have to get into communication. How do you reference on each level? And from there, learning how to move within those spheres. Keep studying, stay knowledgeable. Have a peaceful day. Keep supporting us with the donations. We're 24/7 ministry out here on these streets. Right now, 24/7. Been out here for 2 days. Turning money over. Stay vigilant.